Hi, Kathryn here with Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Well, today on the mat, let's make some beautiful earrings for the holidays. Now, this will be using things from the November Bargain Bead Box, and this is part 2. I made part 1 last week, and I told you I already had this ready for you. Aren't these some beautiful pieces? One of them would be perfect for any holiday party, especially a New Year's party. And the other one is in a Bohemian style, and it is perfect for everyday wear. So let's turn our eyes to our work table. So as we turn our eyes to the mat and we see our lovely piece of glass, give thanks to the Lord. It's almost time to move this out. Thanksgiving is just around the corner. I was looking at things that I needed today for that. Are you preparing for Thanksgiving? Well, that's what this piece of glass is all about. Giving thanks to the Lord. And today, as I was sitting out on the back porch with my husband having coffee and listening to scripture, we were reading about the 3 servants that got a coin, and one of them did 10 and one of them, I forgot, but the last one did 1. And my husband looks at me and he says, well, what about the 7? And that question had been on my mind, and I thought about it and prayed about it. And for my blog that I write every morning, I talked about the 7. The 7 are the unsung heroes that serve the Lord with gladness. So what unsung heroes do you have in your life? All right, let's turn our eyes to the mat. So starting off, let's open our little bag here. I tried to put some things all in little baggies so I'd know what I was doing for this week. And let's look at what we have for this first pair of earrings. These will be classic drops. It's an 8mm purple and Lepidolite or Dolite rounds, and they are really beautiful. I have never worked with these before, but look at that beautiful purple. It's kind of a purpley gray, and it is really, really a pretty little bead. And so we're going to use some of those. Let's see here if I can get this out of the way. And let's pick the 2 of these 8mm up right there. We're going to need 2 of those for that. Any 8mm will do. Then a 5x5 in the English cut faceted crystal rounds. And this is in lavender. And lavender, at least these are also in that kind of purple gray cast. And let's pull these out so I can show them to you. And I have pulled 6 of these just to make sure I have enough. And we're going to put those over to the side. From my own stash, I will be using my copper eye pins because we will be doing something. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the copper in the ear wires and in the jump rings. Now this is a Lampwork twisted leaf pendant. I am not using these for pendants. I am using them for earrings. Now these beautiful leaf lamp work beads have a copper glitter on them or in them, and they are a very light pink. They are so pretty, and they will look gorgeous with this purple gray beads in this. And yes, you guessed it, they will be the charm on the end of the earrings. I love these drop earrings. They are so pretty. They really would be perfect for any holiday party. They have that gorgeous gray purple that is popular or at least it was for me, popular during the holidays. We started off with a 3mm spacer ball in that bronze because I don't have copper. Then I put on an English cut. I'm thinking about what I want to do here. Let's go ahead and put on another, and let's see what that looks like. And then we're going to put on that 8mm. That is really pretty. And I'm not saying that name again because I didn't take the time to look at it or listen to it before I started this. Then another 3mm, and you have something that looks like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and put on the English cut and another one of the spacers. Now see, I really like that. Again, you know me, small to large, back to small. But this one, let's see here. What do I want to do? Isn't that pretty? And do you notice how the grays, the purple grays are almost exactly alike? They match really well. Okay, I'm going to set that one to the side and let's see what I want to do. Am I going to change this anyway? I am not sure, but we went ahead and put the 3mm spacer, then an English cut and a 3mm spacer ball. And you could do this in any color, but this is the colors that were in the box, and they're the ones I decided to go with. Then we put the 8mm, another spacer ball, then an a spacer ball, and then an English cut. And so this is what I'm looking at. What do you think? Do you like that? Let's go ahead and put the little leaf at the bottom so we can see kind of what that would look like. Let me move my camera over a little bit so I get in the center. See, that's real pretty. But look at this. If I put another of the English cut on, if I can find the little hole. Alrighty, let's see. And a spacer ball, just like that. And let's put that down like that. Now, I really think I like that better. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and add that last English cut that I got. So that would mean you have a spacer, an English cut, a spacer, an 8mm, a spacer, an English cut, a spacer, an English cut, and a spacer. Let me see if I can get you a picture. All right, one more time. Starting at the bottom of the eye pin, we will put that 3mm spacer ball, and I am using it in the bronze. Then a English cut. I love that purple gray. That's beautiful. And then another spacer. Then your 8mm, a spacer, your English cut, a spacer, your English cut, and a spacer. Now, if you do not have the November Bargain Bead Box, some of these things are still up on the sister site, Bead Box Bargain. But any of the English cut or a rondelle would be real pretty in this. And remember, this was a 7.5. And then any color in the 3mm spacer ball and that 8mm ball in a shade that is the same as the one that you picked for your smaller English cut, whether it's English cut, rondelle, whatever it might be. You want the shades to get this look. You want it to be in similar shades of the color. And then any leaf charm on the bottom or whatever's glitzy for the holidays would be gorgeous. But I love this combination. All right, let's move on. All right, so I have both of these beaded, and this is what it will look like. The leaves do look like they're reversible. I couldn't see much difference so that you could have the points going towards the face on either side. Taking the looper, you put it in the looper, you touch the last bead to the looper, you mash the handles, it makes this little loop. Then I'm taking my chain nose pliers and I am closing that loop. Now when you close your loops, make sure not only that they are completely touching the wire under the loop, but that they sit straight up over the top of your beaded piece, and then turn them between two chain nose pliers or a chain and a curve, whatever you have, and make sure that the loops are in the same plane. All right, so that one is done, and then I need to get the other one done. So isn't that pretty? I just love this drop earring. It is so pretty. Again, you're going to take and put this into your looper. You will not be able to get it all the way across unless you use bigger eye pins. Mash the handles, turn it back just a little bit so it makes a slight turn away from straight. Then go ahead and close up your loop, completely make sure it's closed with your straight nose pliers. Take your chain nose pliers, straighten it, make sure it's closed. If you did not get it closed, I usually have to do both. And then make sure it's in the same plane and they're setting right over the top middle of your bead, both on the bottom and the top, so that your earring will hang the way on both sides. And so now then what we're going to do is we're going to turn our ear wires. I am turning them because I want to face the front. If you like your earrings to face the side, then just leave them the way they come. But if you like it to face the front of your face, you have to make sure the loop at the top of your bead and the loop on your earring are in the same plane. That means that if they're going horizontal, they both have to go horizontal. If they go vertical, they both have to go vertical. Now I have opened up a jump ring, holding it between two chain nose pliers. I only twist one side so I don't strain it. Then I am going to go ahead and put on the bead right here, that beaded part, and then I'm going to put on my leaf. Again, between two chain nose pliers. Oop, I can't get it. And twist only one side. And I am doing a rocking motion because I've opened this up really large to get that Lampwork bead in. And I have to rock it a little bit to make sure that it's closed. I don't like to do this as a general rule because, like twisting both sides, it can make a weak point spot in the jump ring. And so I don't like to do it a lot. But this jump ring was already opened. Let's see there. And I have gone ahead and put both the leaves on, and now I'm ready to go ahead and put on my ear wire. I put on my earring first. I decide which is the front, and then when I put on the ear wire, I make sure that the right front, the front of the ear wire is touching the front of the earring. That way, when you hold it up, it will be facing all in the right direction. If you're not careful about that, sometimes the earring will face to the front, sometimes it'll face to the back, and you just have to take it apart and do it again. And again, the more you open and close these jump rings, the more likely you are to stress the metal. And stressed metal is easier to break or to spring open when you wear it and you lose your piece. And you do not want to lose these beautiful Lampwork beads because they are glass. And if you drop it, they have a tendency to break. Now again, twist of one wrist, holding the other one steady so you don't put undue stress on that jump ring. And then you have these beautiful leaf earrings, perfect for holiday parties or just wearing shopping during the holidays. But they're plain enough that you could wear these anytime, because the beautiful purple gray with this pink, although it is gorgeous anytime, it is also a beautiful color for the holidays that we are celebrating. Isn't that gorgeous? So before we move on to making our second pair, those Bohemian earrings, would you take a moment and like and comment on this video? And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and hit the notification button so that when we put out new stuff, you will be notified about it. Thank you so much for helping us, especially during this holiday season. Okay, let's open up our next little bag of goodies and see what I had there. Pour them out on the mat just like that. See if I can't get this back in the middle again. I think I hit it. And I think that my little stand is such that it is so unhappy. Now, these are all the little pieces that I pulled ahead of time. I did pull out 2 chains that I was thinking about using with these earrings. I have put them back in a little goodie box that I have, and I will be using them for something else, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Now then, from my own stash, I have pulled out some small 24 gauge head pins. I've pulled out 2 ear wires. Then, yeah, there's some more of those. And then I have these right here. And this is that scrolled tube bell beads. Let me show you these. Now, I'm going to tell you my mistake. And don't make this mistake. I pulled these out and I assumed they were exactly like some that I had made before. I was wrong. I should have looked at them more closely. I ended up putting these back in the little bag later on. And the reason I did is because I couldn't use them. I had to rethink this twice before I got what I wanted. Now these are the filigree and these are connectors. We have used them before. I really like them. And they are going to be really the centerpiece of this earring. Then I pulled out 2 of the clips for myself because I will be making 2 pairs of these. And then I picked up the 3.5 by 3 millimeter crystal faceted rondelles. This is in that winterberry mix. It is such a wonderful, wonderful mix. It's has different shades of blue gray. We have all that blue gray. Blue gray reminds me of the sky right before it snows. And here in Texas, that's saying a lot because we don't get much. And so, but I have dreams. And yeah, my son and daughter-in-law live in Pennsylvania, and they say, Mom, no, you don't have dreams. Really, you don't. Although they love it up there. Okay, and also from the November Bargain Bead Box, I pulled out the jump rings that they sent. I pulled out all the little jump rings they had in there. And I don't know if you get a different amount of different ones in each bag, but that was what I had. Now looky here. I looked at that hole and I thought, why didn't I look at that hole before? There is no way my beading wire is going to go through that. So the next thing I did was I pulled out my crimps. I put some crimps out and I thought, well, I will, not beading wire, I will use beading wire instead, this metallic in the copper. I thought, oh, that'll be gorgeous. And I will use that instead. I did not. And the reason I did not, I pulled out some copper beads also. Let's see, or bronze beads for this one. And they are the color, or almost the color of those filigree connectors from the November Bargain Bead Box. But I did not use that wire, and it was because it was too stiff to do what I wanted to do. So I am going to stop this right here, and I'm going to jump to the part where I figured out what I was going to do. I had the design written down, but what I thought I wanted to do and what I ended up doing are 2 different things. All right, just a moment. So here I'm looking at my drawing and I'm going, now how can I salvage this? Because I really like those earrings. I have pulled out some head pins in my copper. And I am going to go ahead and I needed 2 head pins for each of these earrings. I'm going to go ahead and put on a 3 millimeter spacer ball. Let's see if I can get those over here where you can see them. Yes, I have a tendency to just mush everything together and pick it up. You know, my whole life is kind of mushed together and then pick it up. Okay, then I have put on, I'm sorry, I'm shaking so bad, but it is sped up a little bit so it won't be quite so long. Then I have put on some of these 11-0 in the bronze. I put 3 of those on. Then we're going to do 4. Come on. 5. Well, it fell off. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up. And I ended up using a total, I believe, of 7. It really depends on how long you want the longest part of this drop to be, because this is the length in your drop. The next part will go across these 2. So right in the middle, I did 7. Then I put on one of those beautiful mix, the mulberry mix. Or no, I'm sorry, that's the winter mix. And then we're going to go ahead and put on, let's see if I like this. Move that down. You gotta get your hand out of the way, Kathryn, so you can show everybody what you're doing. And again, this is punting, because I had my drawing, I had what I was going to do, and I did not look at that bell, even though it calls it a bead. So for this one, I have put on a spacer, 7 of the 11 O's, another spacer, then one of the winter mix, a spacer, and 7 11 O's. And now I'm going to go ahead and use my looper. I'm going to put it across the jaws, butting that last bead right up against the edge. Then I'm going to mash the handles down. It's straight. Then I just push it ever so slightly. And what that does, it makes a question mark. And when you do that, what ends up happening is it centers that circle right over your beaded piece. And now this is what I'm going to do, because this is what I envisioned. I thought it would be chain, but this is beautiful. I love this. And I said, thank you, God. I needed an answer here. And of course, he always provides, and I am so thankful. All right, so I've gotten out the next size up in the jump rings that was in that mix that was in the November Bargain Bead Box. And I twisted it open, and I'm going to put first my connector and then the beaded section. I'm going to go ahead and close it up. I thought about just putting it in without the jump ring and just opening up the beaded section and using it. But I really needed that movement so that the beaded section would not just flip and it looked like you had a swing that you had tied to a tree. I tell you this because I did it first. And I went, oh, this will never do. So you really do need to use a jump ring to get that movement so that the circle in your eye pin can go ahead and jump to the top. Do you see how that jumps to the top? Now then, I have got another one of the larger of the jump rings that were in the mix. I'm going to open it up just like that. And I'm going to put on first one side and then the other. And instead of the bell being the center or the focal point at the top, it's going to be this jump ring. And then I have put on my, I have put on my ear wire right onto that jump ring. So let's look and see how this looks. And I'm looking at it, I think I'm showing it to you, but I'm not. There you go. So that is what it looks like. All right. So let's see here. So what am I going to do here? Let me tell you. The problem was it wasn't hanging to the front. And I didn't take that into consideration. It was doing something really strange. So I'm taking this off. I'm kind of straightening it out. And I'm looking at it to say, why is this not working? This should work. So again, we're going to take it off. Because as I said, I didn't get this part drawn out because this is something different. And I am looking to see what I need here. All right. The reason it wasn't working is it was trying to come off because I did not get that head pin at the bottom, not head pin, eye pin. I used the circles that were already on there and I forgot to check them and that was not closed off. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this one and make sure this one is closed off and over the center because you have to be very careful with these. Normally I check them before I show them to you. But when you get eye pins, always make sure that you check them before you use them because you would think that their little machine would close it, but it doesn't. And as a result, I lost an earring at church. I'm just hoping somebody finds it and puts it on the little lost and found table, because my jump ring was open and I had not checked it well enough. So that is this piece. Then we're going to go ahead and close it up, and then let's see here. I forgot. What did I forget? Get this out of the way. And we're going to lay this down just like that. Make sure it's straight. Make sure everything is hanging correctly. And that, when you have it on, will be gorgeous, because the weight from that connector at the bottom is going to go ahead and it's going to let it hang flat. All right, now I'm going to open it back up because I didn't do it the first time, and I'm going to put on my, I'm looking to make sure what plane everything needs to be in. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put on my ear wire. Now for these earrings, they will look beautiful facing the front. They will look beautiful facing the side. And they're just really pretty, and because you do them in the copper, it gives it that everyday bohemian look. It's a little dressed down from the gold or the silver, but it is gorgeous. And you know, the warm metals are the ones that really shine in these winter months, because everything is more, let's see, how do I want to say this? It's more closed in, it's quieter, it's more comforting, and you don't necessarily need the flash of the silver or the gold, but the warm metals like bronze and copper and brass, they all give you that warmth look of winter. And so now I have gone ahead and made the charm while I was talking and not paying any attention. That's a rolled down charm. What you're going to do is just put it on your little 24 gauge, make teeny tiny little turns on your gauge wire until you touch the bead, and that's all there is to that. I hope I show it to you again because I talked right through it, but I have done it a lot. So if you watch my channel for very long, you will see this technique. And again, these are those very small, isn't that pretty, in that winter mix, and I just love it. So let's go ahead and close this up. All right, come on, you can do this. I know you can do this. All right. It says, no, I can't do this because it is too, you've got too much on this little bitty jump ring. What do you think you're doing? And I'm saying, I'm trying to make it work. But let's see here. I'll give it one more try. Nope. I said, nope, that's not going to work. We're going to go with one size up. I know I have more of these. I just didn't want to have to pull out the package. Yes, it is late in the day. All right, we put the little bitty bead charm on there because these are really dainty little Bohemian style earrings. And see, that went right on. I'm putting it in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and close that jump ring by only moving one side. And let's get this over here. And I bent that a little bit. Okay, that's perfect. And it lays down just like that. Now, isn't that pretty? So, let's see if I can decide what I'm going to do here. Alrighty, let me see if I can get you a picture. Alright, this is the earring that I finished with, and some days are just like that. You put best laid plans, man. But I love this piece. So I started out with an eye pin. At the bottom of the eye pin, I put a 3mm bead spacer ball. Then I put on 7 of the bronze 11/0 seed beads. Then another of the 3mm spacer balls. Then I used that beautiful faceted rondelle. That's gorgeous. And then I put on another spacer ball, 7 of the 11/0s, another spacer ball, and then I closed up the top using my looper. If you don't have a looper, You can turn your own loops. It's not a problem. It's just I like using it, especially if I've got an assembly line going and I am working on an order for a lady who contacted me and wanted me to do some work for her for Christmas. And so I had an assembly line going. All right, when you put this together, you're going to use jump rings and you're going to put the bottom piece, which is that filigree down at the bottom. These are connectors so that they have a loop on both sides. Anything that has a loop on both sides will work. Do it with a jump ring. Go ahead and put one side on and then the other. If it flips over, your jump ring isn't big enough. So go with the next size up. Next, for the bead charm itself, we're also using a jump ring for that. For this particular connector, I could not use the smallest. I had to go a size up because the connector itself was thicker than the turned loop. And I do not use, when I'm doing 24 gauge, I do not use my looper. Either do a turn down loop and do 2 to 3 completed circles so that it will hold, or wire wrap it. I was using such small 24 gauge wire that I could not wire wrap it because, again, with the 24 gauge, you want to do at least 2.5 to 3 turns around that wire to make sure it will hold. Because if it got caught on your hair and you turned your head quickly or flipped it out of the way, it could pull this little 24 gauge wire. So be aware of that when you're doing something like this. Do a turned down loop or wire wrap, but use a longer, not larger. I wouldn't go more than 24 gauge on this, but use a longer head pin for this. All right, let's continue on. Oh, now look at that. Don't they make a beautiful pair of earrings? I just love these earrings. They are so pretty. I will be making more in this style. I have not done any like this. I'm sure if you looked on YouTube or TikTok, you would find people that do that, but I had not seen them before. Now let's look at the earrings that we have done in this series. So the first one, because these are the first or the last on the mat, are these gorgeous Bohemians. And look at those. Aren't those beautiful? They are so pretty. Now, can't you see yourself wearing this all the time? I will be wearing it all the time, but I will have to take out those and put on some clips. That's why I pull me some clips. Then the first pair we made today, which is perfect for any time of the year, but especially for the holidays. Oh, I just love these. That purple gray with that beautiful light pink is just gorgeous. It makes me wish I had something with that color combination in my wardrobe. But I have one or the other, and I will be wearing these. Aren't those pretty? I just love them. They are so pretty. All right, let's move these out of the way. And then this is from our first series, and these are our poinsettias. And they are that old world style and a classic old world style drop earring with those beautiful beads. These have a teal gold capped faceted rondelle and that gorgeous pearl in it. That is so pretty. I love it. So these are all of the ones we made in this series. And let's get those put up. There you go. See, that's really pretty. I just love this. And you know, I say I'm always going to wear these or that. Well, I do wear quite a bit of it. And there are some pieces that just go into mine. But a lot of these are gifts. You need to think about that as you're doing. Do you need to give yourself a gift? Do you have friends and family, acquaintances that you would like to make a handcrafted gift for? These would be perfect. All right, let me show you some pictures. Now look at this. Isn't that beautiful? What a great set of earrings for this holiday season. I just love this set of earrings. I think it covers everything. And the lampwork leaves on that piece is just beautiful. Look around in your own stash. What do you have that is similar if you do not have the November Bargain Bead Box? Or maybe you want to look up on the sister shop Bead Box Bargain and see what they have. But make some of these beauties for yourself and for others. God bless you. God keep you safe. Until we see each other again, Kathryn, handmade by Circle Art Designs. God bless y'all and happy beading.